as I've been long. The Black Lotus clan sends their regards.
Is this a challenge? It's promise!
Your reputation precedes you.
Ha ha! Perhaps, but you're still just a pussy.
Welcome to the motherfucking lady. We're covering today's top boxing news.
Okay, we'll start with this. Another installment of what has fast become the most popular segment here on the channel, Ring IQ Hate Mail. My previous video, we talked about the current backlash Terrence Crawford is facing for attending UFC Freedom this past weekend alongside President-elect Donnie J. Guy who goes by the name JC8086 said, "When talking politics, Jules, you are the equivalent of Benavidez. Tank, a fanboy who deflects and protects their guy." I didn't spend much time talking about politics in that video. I spent more time talking about Terrence Crawford's detractors and all the different ways they try to tear him down. You're the one that wants to talk about politics because that's what you're doing now, saying, "It's funny how you call the left losers, yet the guy you glaze in office cries and storms out of interviews crying when he's telling lies." You mean like you're crying right now? Is the definition of a loser. I think still bellyaching about this administration 6 months into it is the definition of a loser. I think you're so triggered by that guy. It's not that I spent a whole heap of time talking about politics, because I actually didn't. I kept the focus on Terrence and his detractors. I kept the focus on boxing, but you're the one who wants to get political. You think I don't see all the other comments you leave me under my videos, some of which have absolutely nothing to do with politics because of how easily triggered you are by the orange guy? What's so triggering about him? That he doesn't believe biological males should be playing in female sports and female categories, that he believes a sovereign nation should secure its borders. What's the trigger? I don't want to stay on politics. You do. So what's so triggering about that guy? That he supposedly told some lie? I don't even know what the lie was. You didn't mention it. But if we're going to talk about lies, and we're going to talk about liars, the left spent a good amount of time lying about the mental and physical state of Joe Biden. I saw Kamala Harris say he's the sharpest she's ever seen him, when it was obvious Joe's health was declining and he couldn't finish out his presidency. Just for it to later come out that the guy was sick. Because you care so much about liars and lying that you don't care about that. You gloss over that so you can keep bellyaching about this. And for what? You think I don't see all the other comments you leave me that I choose not to respond to because you're the one who wants to make this about politics, not me. See, you want me to say it nicer. I told you guys in the previous year, the left is so far off the deep end, there were a lot of people who were in the middle who weren't necessarily on the right. But the left pushed them there with your kooky ideologies. None of which seems to be to the benefit of the American people. All the left seems to care about is gay shit and illegal aliens. People that shouldn't be here. That's what you're triggered about. You think that a sovereign nation like the United States is wrong for securing its own borders, like Mexico and pretty much every other country in the world doesn't do the same thing. Because what you're an advocate for is lawlessness and chaos. That's why you're on the left. Nobody over there makes any kind of sense. I can remember in the previous administration how every major city run by the left was suffering a bad case of tooth decay. Urban blight. So left doing? Working to turn every major city into a sanctuary city. And where's the money for all that supposed to come from? To accommodate all these people. You don't have any answers for any of the things you say or any of the things you think, because what you're advocating for is lawlessness. You seek to benefit from that. Chaos. And that's all it really is. But don't try to frame it to where I spent a whole lot of time talking about the orange guy. That's what you want to do. I didn't do that. I kept the focus on Terrence Crawford, his detractors, and the sport of boxing, because this is a boxing channel, whereas you want to keep arguing about your politics. Oh, the current administration is so mean that they secure their own borders. Have it your way, and you want to leave the door wide open for anybody to come in, irrespective of who they are. There should be no checks, no vetting process. So when you get home from work, what, do you sleep with your door open? Do you let anybody in your house? You know he doesn't. You know the answer, but you're expecting an entire fucking country to run that way?
No country runs that way.
And I do have a penchant for pissing people off, so I'm about to piss you off. You're not entitled to live here.
Not if you weren't born here. There's a process you have to go through.
Nobody owes you nothing. Or your auntie or your uncle or their dog.
What the fuck's wrong with him?
Elsewhere in the world of boxing, Errol Spence opens up about past transgression as zoo fight looms. Before Spence can focus on the encounter down under, he still has to address the skeletons of the past. Spence, 28-1 with 22 knockouts, has been sidelined ever since suffering a one-sided stoppage loss against Terrence Crawford in July of 2023 for the undisputed welterweight title. Spence came in as the IBF, WBA, and WBC champion, but was dropped once in the second round, 2 times in the 7th, before an onslaught ended matters in the 9th. Man, that camp was bullshit, Spence said during a revealing 2-hour conversation with Andre Ward on All the Smoke Fight. Yeah, bro, the whole camp, I didn't spar for probably like 6 or 7 weeks. It was just a lot that went wrong in that camp. It got to a point to where my body felt like I was back to living wrong before the Crawford fight. You can't get into camp thinking you're young and everything is going to be all good now, even out of camp. You have to live right. Once you get into camp, everything will be cool.
I saw the video excerpts from Errol circulating yesterday, and I didn't accept Errol's explanation, even if it's true.
And it probably is.
If you weren't living the way you needed to be living as a fighter, I mean, that's still your fault. I remember in the 5 years it took to put that fight together, how many times I said that Errol being an alcoholic, stumbling around drunk all over the place, it's gonna blow up in his face. It's gonna backfire, while his supporters were saying, leave him alone. He's just living his life. He's just having some fun.
So you don't get to use that as an excuse now for losing to Terrence.
Because there is no excuse. I remember after the car accident, those who were brave enough to speculate that Errol was probably drunk behind the wheel. His supporters got mad at that.
They got mad at me for saying it on Twitter just for it to end up being true.
What you were or weren't doing outside of the ring doesn't take away from Terrence's victory. It only shows you were never on his level because you were never as disciplined as he was.
Errol continued, I'm cool now because I've been living right. I haven't been drinking and none of that. I'm still working out. Once I get into camp, I am free-flowing. In that camp, everything was out of whack and my body wasn't there.
How convenient.
For me, I knew that this maximum payout against Crawford was going to take care of my family, even if I'm not here. At 36, Spence has endured more than his fair share of setbacks both inside and outside the ring. The DeSoto, Texas native walked away from a horrific car crash that could have costed him his life in 2019, then saw his highly anticipated showdown with Manny Pacquiao fall apart in 2021 after suffering a detached retina. Beyond the physical challenges, Spence, who's nicknamed The Truth, has been candid about his struggles with excessive alcohol consumption, adding another complicated layer throughout his journey.
I don't look at it as being complicated at all because the fighter is personally responsible for maintaining their condition, their physical condition, their body. So if you choose to be a booze hound,
that's on you.
If what they're trying to do is frame it to where Errol's substance abuse costed him the Crawford fight, in fairness, I don't think he could have ever won that fight. I don't think there is a version of Errol that you could put in the ring with Terrence and Errol wins. Before his alcoholism came to a head in 2019, I had Terrence winning that fight just based on what I saw from the fighters.
To prepare for Tim Tszyu for what's supposed to be a 158-pound catchweight clash presented by Prime Video pay-per-view on July 26, July 25th in the US, Spence has handed the coaching keys to touted trainer Ronnie Shields. I didn't know if I was ever going to box again, Spence said. I felt like that before the Crawford fight. That's why I took so long off. I'm still going to fight. It is what it is. I'm not going to make any excuses. I'm just going to go do what I do. Whatever criticism comes with it, comes with it. At the end of the day, I'm doing it for the bigger picture. For the record, I think Errol is just being honest about his mental state and what was going on at the time. I think he's telling the truth. It's just that even if he is, it doesn't change that he's personally responsible for all of it, and it doesn't take away from Terrence's victory. Why not?
Sugar Ray Leonard's famous win over Roberto Duran in the No Mas fight, what was their second fight together, their rematch.
Roberto Duran won the first one, and Sugar won the second by strategically timing it at a time where Roberto Duran would not be match fit, would not be ready. being a raging alcoholic and a cokehead, not doing what he needed to do in between fights to keep himself up, Sugar was able to catch him with his pants down, and it worked. It's one of Sugar Ray Leonard's most famous victories, and afterwards, you didn't see a lot of people saying, well, Sugar only won because Roberto was a cokehead, because he was a drunk. He was a cokehead and a drunk in the first fight.
He was a booze hound before he fought Sugar Ray Leonard, like Errol Spence Jr. was a booze hound before he fought Terrence Crawford. He was a booze hound when he fought Ugas. He was a booze hound when he fought Danny Garcia. He was a booze hound when he fought Sean Porter.
He didn't all of a sudden become a booze hound before the Crawford fight. He was already a booze hound, and these people were still cheering him on and still picking him to beat Terrence, so that now, being a booze hound is no excuse.
I think that Errol Spence Jr. is mostly a stand-up guy, which is why the Crawford fight even happened. By now, we all know the PBC didn't want it to, and I remember rumors at the time that they wanted him to move up in weight and fight Keith Thurman instead, and for no belt at all. I remember the leaked audio of Errol and Stefan Espinoza where Errol's telling him he's not going to do it.
He ended up fighting Terrence instead, so he has his role to play in why that fight even happened, because the PBC didn't want it to, and what it is Errol is mostly a stand-up guy, but what he's saying now is no excuse. And it doesn't lessen Terrence Crawford's victory over him. All it proves is you ain't got what it takes to compete at the same level as that guy. You don't have the discipline, you don't have the consistency, because at the height of your popularity, you chose to hit the bottle.
Now, like I said, there's no version of Errol I think could have beat Terrence Crawford, but you're not making the situation any better being a booze hound.
And being a booze hound does not absolve you of culpability. It's your fault.
I need you to answer this, though.
What's up?
In the locker room, bro. People saying EJ looked sleepy, he looked tired. Was it, because I know this too, like sometimes, bro, like sometimes you dealing with a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
Like you can get that sleepy feeling. Like I didn't felt that. I'm like, bro, wake up, you gotta shake yourself. Like the pressure's so thick, sometimes it can make you in that state and you gotta kind of snap out of it. What was going on in the corner pre-fight? I mean in the locker room before the fight?
Oh, I was tired, bro. Like I ain't really sleep like that because I already knew what.
You felt it.
Yeah, I already knew what. I don't know, like, bro. In my mind, I thought this fight was gonna be competitive and I could win, but you know what I'm saying. I've been felt it like probably for like a month and some change, like damn, like, but hey, just saying in my head, like, you know what I'm saying, you doing this for your family, like, you doing this for your family, but, you know what I'm saying, I kind of felt like, it could be bad. It could be bad, but at the end of the day, you gotta be a man. I wasn't gonna not fight, and then I don't know when I was gonna return. Like, I could have been returning now 3 years later type stuff. And I wasn't gonna be one of the fighters that do that, so I had to do what was best for me.
And what Errol Spence Jr. is describing is a sense of impending doom. If he felt for like a month in the buildup of it, things could go sideways, they could go bad, then that's what that was, and let's be honest.
The PBC didn't put that fight off for as long as they did, because they liked Errol's chances.
Relying on side-of-the-street politics to absolve Errol for not doing it sooner when they didn't hold off making the Ryan Garcia fight for Gervonta, and Ryan was on a different side of the street. They didn't hold off doing the Tyson Fury rematch.
Tyson Fury was on a different side of the street. He was on the same side of the street as Terrence.
So how could that have been the excuse to not do the fight between Errol and Terrence sooner? And we all know what it was. They didn't like his chances underneath it all. I don't think Errol did either.
Because he was a party to it for a long time. But he finally decided to nut the fuck up,
face the music, and I actually respect him for it.
Now revealing the money strategy that Floyd Mayweather should have used in light of all of his legal and financial woes.
Huh?
We all know that Floyd Mayweather is in deep with the sharks. He owes a lot of people a lot of money, and now he's facing 2 felonies from bouncing checks in Las Vegas. Errol Spence may have just revealed the simplest financial strategy in boxing. It's also one that would have served Floyd Mayweather well amid questions currently surrounding his finances. Speaking to Andre Ward in The Art of Ward, the former unified welterweight champion explained how he has handled the millions earned during his career. "I never touched the principal. I'm just living off the interest and enjoying life while I do it. That's the biggest comfort you can have as a man," said Spence. Spence did exactly what could have been done with any purse over $5 million. Leave that kind of money alone, and it can produce around $20,000 a month on interest.
So just imagine the kind of purses that Floyd Mayweather had, well in excess of a paltry $5 million. Any one of the purses, the De La Hoya purse, the Canelo purse,
the Manny Pacquiao purse, the McGregor purse. He leaves that in the bank. He could have lived off the interest.
Spence did exactly what could be done with any purse over $5 million. Spence likely has at least double that amount and possibly much more after a career that saw him headline major pay-per-view events and unifying world titles. Even at conservative estimates, that could leave him with tens of thousands of dollars a month while preserving the money that made him wealthy in the first place. It's the kind of financial security that many fighters spend their entire careers trying to achieve. I think Errol Spence Jr. is a more centered and down-to-earth individual than Floyd Mayweather ever was. You can tell that for Errol, he's really big on family and providing for his family. Not saying that Floyd Mayweather isn't, but if he is, he hasn't shown it.
The face that he's shown the world is an ostentatious one, a materialistic one that's big on frivolities.
The comments arrive at a time when Floyd Mayweather is facing felony theft charges in Nevada and renewed scrutiny around his finances. As World Boxing News previously explained, had Mayweather taken the after-tax proceeds from his Manny Pacquiao fight and parked the money in a high-interest investment that returns alone could have generated in between $700,000 and $1 million per month in gross interest. The level of income would have been enough to maintain a lavish lifestyle without touching the original payday. Luxury purchases could still have been made. Expensive watches could still have been bought. The difference is that spending would have been funded by returns rather than the fortune itself.
Well, Mayweather's a fucking idiot. What do you expect?
Instead, questions surrounding Mayweather's finances continue to grow. Former manager Jonah Rechnitz recently alleged that the undefeated boxing legend blew through much of his money, claims Mayweather strongly disputes through ongoing legal action. Now, alongside those disputes, Mayweather is dealing with felony charges connected to an alleged $200,000 watch purchase, while also pursuing future events, including a proposed Manny Pacquiao rematch. Spence's blueprint is a reminder that earning a fortune and keeping one are often two different things.
Floyd is a lot more ostentatious than Errol Spence Jr., thus producing worse spending habits. Maybe Errol, who isn't as successful in terms of legacy and finance as Floyd.
He certainly hasn't generated as much money as Floyd has generated, and in terms of accomplishments, he's not as accomplished. But maybe his green print is better than Floyd's, and that's the one that all these young boxers should follow. If you make a lot of money, just keep it in the bank and live off the interest.
You want to be an investor? Use the interest.
If you generate enough money throughout your career, you might be able to. Keep the spending in check, because nothing lasts forever, even a fortune.
Here today, gone tomorrow.